Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norcroft. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review Jive. Yesterday was Terrible Movie Tuesday, and the movie chosen was Tremors 2, which means that we now have 2 of the, I'm pretty certain, 7 Tremors movies down. Don't worry, we'll probably get to all of them. I don't actually think any of them are bad movies, but they aren't good movies either.
But they're
fucking great movies, but they're certainly not what I would call gems of the cinema, as it were. So Tremors 2, it actually has a subtitle, which I'm going to be fucking real with you. I feel like I just learned watching it this time, which is about the 9 millionth time I've seen this fucking movie. But it's Tremors 2 Aftershocks.
Oh, I didn't realize it had the subtitle.
So
either.
this came out.
Even watching it, I didn't realize
this came out 6 years after the original Tremors. So this came out in '96. The original Tremors came out in 1990. This has 2 of the original stars. So this has Earl in it, which is played by Fred Ward. And this has Burt Groomer, which is played by Michael Gross. So they're both from the original. But Kevin Bacon sadly chose not to be in this movie. And they replaced him with an even more annoying sidekick character. Holy shit, this fucking kid in '96. Man. Let me tell you what. Also, just as a side piece of knowledge while we're initially talking about this, there's a scene in this movie where Earl pulls out a calculator to do some math, and they don't show the calculator. They just show him, like, reach into his pocket and, like, pull out, like, a gray piece of plastic and start, like, doing this on it. And I'm like, was this movie around when smartphones were around? And then it took me a second.
He literally said, why is he using his phone as a calculator?
Yeah, like
before I realized
that it was just like a shitty calculator. It was weird that he was like carrying a calculator in his pocket like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just the way it was shot was very reminiscent of just like the way people pull their cell phones out now.
It's also basically the size of a smartphone. Like a smaller one, not like the big giant plus one.
Yeah, it's totally the size of like a standard smartphone. But okay, let's get to the description here. So, after spending all of the reward money from his first encounter with the giant man-eating worms called graboids, Earl Bassett agrees to hunt more of the deadly creatures at a Mexican oil refinery for $50,000 each. Knowing that he cannot face the monsters alone, Earl recruits Burt Goomer, another veteran of the incident in Nevada, to supply the firepower. There's only one problem: the graboids have evolved to attack above ground.
Yeah,
which is pretty spot on.
It's pretty spot on. So, the fun thing about the Tremors movies is, well, first of all, that it's basically a series of movies revolving around the game The Floor is Hot Lava, which we played extensively as kids.
Yeah, everybody did.
Super love. So the fun part about Tremors really is that with each passing movie, the graboids get additional traits.
They get like a bonus feature.
They level up, as it were.
Yeah, sort of.
So in this one, they have the ability to have little baby graboids above ground, like giant chicken monsters. What's the monster from Stranger Things? Demogorgon. Like giant, like Demogorgon chickens that are the size of like ostriches.
Oh, sort of. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Honestly, you know what they look like? Not enough legs, but they are... Honestly, I almost think that they use the same fucking models, or at least the face portions. They look like the blue bugs from the Starship Troopers movie. Specifically, the blue bugs with the mandibles that clamp together, and how the face is sort of hardened, but the rest is like a little bit fleshier and stuff. So they to me they look a lot like the monsters from Starship Troopers, the bugs I should say from Starship Troopers. But this movie does have a little bit of CGI in it. It's not great, but it's not bad.
And it's mostly practical effects.
It is primarily practical effects, which means that other than like the few weird CGI shots and a few shots of people driving in their car where it was clearly like either they were in a tow trailer and they were using like a weird camera focal length, or it was probably just rotoscoped in or out. Like there's a couple of scenes like that where you're just like, it doesn't look like you're driving at all. But for the most part, this movie really graphically holds up.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
And I mean, it really holds up in general.
And the
even
first
as a
one did also.
standalone.
And the first one had no CGI, so that helps.
Yeah. Well, this movie, I think, it does that thing that a lot of sequels do that's really cool, where it increases both the humor and the ridiculosity. So they increase the ridiculosity up a little bit.
Ridiculousness.
I'm gonna go with ridiculosity. And they increase the humor in this up a lot. So there's a lot of like funny little bits.
Yeah, this one has a lot more comedy in it.
It's very enjoyable to watch.
It's a lot more absurd, like Monty Python level hijinkery.
Yeah, at one point, one of the graboids swallows a radio. Like a standalone radio, and just like has it in its stomach, and
they can just hear the graboid moving around, which is not how sound works.
It's not how sound works at all.
Or fucking radios, dude. I don't know if you've ever had a radio before,
funny.
But it's like you're moving that antenna like remember when you were a kid and you had to adjust the antennas on the TV if you're old enough for that,
or on the radio,
or the radio. But I mean,
one slight adjustment. And you have to start all over.
Or when you find a channel while you're adjusting them that works, and you're like, oh, this is perfect, and you let go, and the channel goes out. So you just hold the radio antenna for the 3 minutes that this song is playing because you like that song, and then just continue to find another channel. Or you try to find something
metal to touch it.
Oh my god, yeah. Running copper wire on the roof. Listen, the 90s were a fucking weird time.
Bending coat
I remember 96. It was a weird time, to say the least.
It was definitely a weird time.
But, yeah, so this movie is... Okay, so the first Tremors movie is sort of and theoretically not at all a comedy. Right? I mean, it's funny, but it's not a comedy. Right?
And it's not... it's not supposed to be funny.
Yeah, well,
right? There is some humor, but it's not supposed to be a comedy.
It's a comedy insofar as, like... Iron Man has jokes in it.
Yeah.
You know, or like hell, even The Darkness, I think, had a joke or two in it. Yeah, like a lot of horror movies have a couple of jokes. Most movies have a couple of jokes. The first Tremors had a couple of jokes.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't a comedy. And this movie, again, it has far more comedy elements, but I still wouldn't go so far as to call it a comedy. But what it treats to is this idea that as you progress from 1 to 7 in the Tremors movies, they slowly get more absurd to the point where the last movie was shot in the desert and they just put a blue filter on it because it's in the Arctic. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they're making more of these fuckers. I'm so happy about this. I love the Tremors franchise because of this.
It's a fantastic franchise.
So they get more absurd. This one, it's only a little bit more absurd. It's only a little bit more funny. You know, if you think of like 7 as being just absurd comedy and 1 as being like a serious
action thriller
monster movie, right? You can see where the progression lies. So the sidekicks, a lot more humor. There's a lot more like, what are you doing standing on the ground? Blah. You know, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The
scenes
love
with the love
interest
interest are funny.
Is
also,
hilarious
for those
in this.
of you that
she's an
were
ex-Playboy model.
Yeah. Well, you gave away.
It's the best. It's the best. There's no spoilers. This movie came out in 96.
So.
If you haven't seen it, go away.
Yeah. Also, the love interest who was the ex-Playboy model, for those of you that were 80s or 90s kids or have had those movies shared with you, the love interest is the mom of Littlefoot in Land Before Time.
Yeah, which is surprising, weird crossover.
She's been in other things, but I heard it and I was like, that's
the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, there's a lot of like good quippy shit. There's a lot of like the Mexican army is just willy-nilly giving shit away to these fuckers
to try and take care of the graboid problem.
like Earl is like, what do we need? And he gets like a bunch of TNT and remote control cars to hunt and kill them. Makes sense, right? And they figure out that you can use just one stick of dynamite to blow up one of these fuckers, right? So it's like, all right, hey, good idea. And then they call out fucking Burt or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's over here with like a pound of C4.
He's using like 4 pounds of C4 the first one he kills. And he adjusts his little like home cam. Let me tell you what, this guy may be the first YouTuber. But Real talk, dude.
He
He's
might
like
have
talking
been.
into like a handy cam,
He
just like
is talking into
guys,
a little
we're
cam."
gonna get the thing, and he's like switching hats before he presses the detonator button and stuff. It's hilarious. But he's like maybe next time not so much C4. The end explosion, the longest delay. Every time I watch that scene, I'm like, does it blow up or does it not blow up at the end of this? Because they're like, run, it's gonna blow up. And then of course Burt's just like, I'm sorry, you did fucking what? There's a shitload of explosives back there. Unacceptable. So they like rush over. You know, he's like, it's not far enough. It's not far enough. It's not far enough. And there's just so much delay. This is a very delay-based kind of comedy.
Yeah.
And action sequences in this. But either way, I mean, honest to God, this is just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
It's a
if you
fun
have
watch.
seen it, watch it again. Trust me, there's some shit in this that you don't remember that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially the practical effects. The practical graboids are phenomenally well done.
Yes.
Like, absolutely amazing. Honestly, I'm looking forward to whenever we see the third one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I this is another, 5 out of 5.
Yeah,
I
5 out of 5. Love
zero
this.
fucking complaints about this movie. The whole time I was just like, well, no, it's still good.
It was very nostalgic watching it, and that was super enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fun.
I watched it a ton as a kid.
Yeah,
so,
of course. These movies were classics. But 5 out of 5.
5 out of
This is a
5.
great movie.
Watch it.
Go watch it. Either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Ring the bell, bop it, twist it. We're going to get this one of these days. And if you know what bop-its are. This has been Review Jive. This was Terrible Movie Tuesday. We watched Tremors 2 Aftershocks. And, we'll catch you guys for the next one, I guess.